Hey, what's up, fam? Thank y'all for tuning in once again. As always, be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And when you do subscribe, hit the notification bell so every time I drop a video, you will be the first to know about it. So let's get into it. We got another scandal involving a woman in power, I guess, using her position for personal benefits, if you will. Now, you know, you had a young lady, what they call a city girl May up there on the outside of Chicago, that they say is funneling money, you spending taxpayers' money on frivolous and silly stuff like music videos, trips around the country, this, that, and the third, and charging the taxpayers. Fonnie Willis, she's under investigation or about to be investigated for possibly using taxpayers' money to help pay, what's he do? Hired Nathan Wade as a special prosecutor for the Trump case, Trump and his co-defendants. And it's coming to light that maybe he got paid more money than he should have. And then, you know, she went to the church, said that she paid all of the lawyers that working for her the same rate, but yet now they're saying something is not right because there's no way in the world a man can work 24 hours straight. No way in the world. So she's been put on investigation. Now there's the mayor of New Orleans. This story is coming out. And it seems that she is paying a bodyguard with taxpayer money and in an alleged affair with him. So we'll get into this. This is from the Daily Mail. Like I said before, I like to go to the Daily Mail because they have a lot of details and it pretty thorough, research, and we'll comment as we go along. This says New Orleans Democratic Mayor LaToya Cantrell faces FBI probe over cozy relationship with her bodyguard whose wife dumped him over affair after footage showed them spending hours together in city-owned apartment during work days. It says the Democratic Mayor of New Orleans, LaToya Cantrell, is facing an FBI probe of allegation of ongoing adulterous affair with the former head of her police detail on city property. Cantrell was seen on security camera spending hours together with Jeffrey Vappy in a city-owned apartment during work hours. Vappy has himself been investigated over hours he was alleged to be clocked in. Now, the federal government is reportedly looking into whether the couple abused government funds for personal trips, as the pair has been seen partying from Los Angeles to Scotland. Here's the thing. Everybody is not fit to be a leader. I don't understand why people feel that they can get in a certain position and use their position for evil purposes. Go back to what's name, Jesse Lee Peterson, the black man. Don't agree on a lot of stuff that he says, his views, a lot of things he said is like downright disturbing and disgusting, truthfully. But one thing he does say is that when people try to talk about racism or sexism or whatever the case, he just blatantly says there's no such thing. And then you're like, what the heck is he talking about? And they'll go back and forth, and he'll go back and forth. He'll go back and forth with his guests, and he'll say there's no such thing as racism. And they're like, yes, it is, because this, that, and the third, they come up with examples. He said, no, it's just good and evil. Either on the side of righteousness or you're on the side of evil. Period. Now you can break it down. You put everything under that umbrella. Now everything else that comes under it, it all boils back down to good and evil, right? So I don't understand why people get into a position that is supposed to be for the benefit of the people, for the good of the people, and they use the position to do basically evil things, like using taxpayers' money for things that has nothing to do with the city, but they'll try to spin it like it is, and we'll get more into it. But because I've seen families like break up temporarily or even long term over things like this. Like I knew some family that they was in it together. They was in the organization together. I'm trying to be vague as possible. They was in the organization together, and they had raised money, fundraisers for this organization to go towards the organization for whatever it needs to minimize the money coming out of the other participants' pockets, right? But then one of the people used the money, and the money was in the bank account or whatever, and both of their names on it. Anyway, one of the people used the money to do things personally. Now I don't know if they was on hard times or whatever, but they needed bills paid. I think that's what the story is. And so they used that money to pay bills without the other person knowing about it, or use the money for something for their family. So it was a need, not a want. It was actually a need. And they felt compelled to use that money until they can get back and say they'll pay it back, whatever, this and the third. Well, that was just pure, deception. And they two got into it. It was a big blow up, and they didn't speak for a long time. And I mean, it was anger. And the one guy tried to justify what he did. The other person, like, ain't nobody trying to hear that. So that's what I'm saying. You're using money that's allocated for city and government official business, and you're using it for an affair. Like you're going to hide, like you say, well, I'm not going to use my bank account, because if you use my bank account, then they'll be able to trace anything that we do back to me. I'm going to use the government money, the government card, and we're just going to chalk it up and saying, hey, I had to take a trip for business and I needed a bodyguard. Not really. And these people have been in politics for a while. They look older. Hell, she look way older than me. They've been in politics for a while. They should know. They've been in this type of business for a while. They should know that this is not going to fly. But anyway, let's continue. Vappy's wife, Danielle, alleges that her husband, the mayor, have been carrying on an affair since May 2021, the same month that he began working on Cantrell's detail. Kind of sound like Fonnie. What's his name? Fonnie? Homewrecker Fonnie Willis. Over there in Georgia. And they say that Nathan Wade, the moment he got that Trump case, he filed for divorce from his wife. Interesting. Multiple media outlets in the area have confirmed that Mrs. LC referred to in the divorce filings is Cantrell. She became the first woman elected as mayor of New Orleans, which overtook St. Louis as the murder capital of America under her watch in 2018. And ain't the first time. I mean, shoot, New Orleans had that title quite a few times over the last few decades. Raphael Goinetch, the president of the Anti-Corruption Metropolitan Crime Commission, believes the story has several parallels to the downfall of ex-Nashville Mayor Megan Barry. Barry and Bodyguard Sergeant Robert Forrest attended 10 city-funded trips by themselves without other mayor office staff present, including to conferences overseas in Paris and Greece, and the two to Washington, according to an affidavit. Both pleaded guilty to theft and resigned after being ordered to pay tens of thousands in restitutions. This is kind of like when I do videos about some of the crimes that people commit, these youngsters be doing, and I'm like, don't y'all watch the first 48? Undoubtedly you don't. Everybody know about it. You rap about it. You talk about it, but you ain't watching, because if you was watching, you would be learning lessons, and you'll see how these people get caught and how easy they get caught and how easy people talk. Everybody talk about no snitch, this, that, and the third, but that's rare, because somebody's going to tell it. You just got to find the right people, because they will tell it. But my thing is, you've seen this before. Why in the world would you repeat it and think you're going to do better? It's like drug dealers say, I'll never get caught. I'll retire from the game. Very few, and I mean minute, like about as fine as hairs on a frog's ass worth of people have retired from the drug game unscratched. The majority of them go to jail or end up dead, or broke, homeless, strung out. That's how it goes. But I don't understand why people think they can just, especially with the technology now and how, they can, everything's digital and they can track and there's cameras everywhere. Well, the similarities are that you're talking about a police officer that was part of an executive protection team for the mayor of Nashville who was billing the city for the work that he was not actually performing. Goyeneche told Fox 8. So if he was not protecting the mayor, was engaged in personal relationship, that essentially would have been the basis of the state's charges that resulted in him being charged and the mayor of Nashville being charged and ultimately resigned. This would just be taking the same principles to the federal side of the ledger. Security footage would show Cantrell and Vappy spending hours together inside the Upper Pontebello apartment in the French Quarter, which is owned by the city, leaving separately without an executive protection. So basically the video shows them going into the apartment, and then hours later, like around by midnight, they're leaving. He leaves first and he goes one way, and then like a few seconds or a minute later, she comes out and goes another way in the time that he was supposed to be protecting her. The cameras everywhere. That's what my dad said. You got to be a fool to commit a crime nowadays because there are cameras everywhere and you will get caught. Cantrell never admitted to the relationship and vehemently denied it in a press conference in January of 2023. So that's like a year ago. Let's see. So this has been ongoing. Quote, as I've stated, based on the false allegations that's come my way by the time I finish this job, literally, accused of sleeping with half the city of New Orleans, both genders and all pronouns. You see how she kind of tried to flip that, tried to make it, took it to the extreme. Cause that's a tactic of people that are like guilty. They'll take it to an extreme to put it in your head, to kind of have that idea, just to put an idea in your head, kind of like a lawyer. To put an idea in your head so that even though it's not true, it's nowhere near true, because we're just talking about one guy, one police officer. But it's in your head. So by the time you say it over and over again and remember it, when the truth comes out and it's just that she has just maybe had an affair with this one guy, she can kind of talk it down like, well, I made a mistake. This was an error. I apologize to the city of New Orleans, to the state of Louisiana, and to all government officials that I have, put a stain on the position, and I apologize, and blah, 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 and et cetera, que sera. And then you'll feel sorry for her. Like, see, it wasn't that bad. I mean, yeah, she only made one mistake. No, this where it started off at. This one guy, and that's where it's going to finish. She chose to do this, if it's true. She even claimed sexism, texting a reporter following up on claims that she had an extramarital affair with her bodyguard, that the journalist's interest was only because she was a woman. By the time I complete my tenure as mayor, I would have slept with half of the city of New Orleans based on false accusations that come my way, sometimes daily, Cantrell told a local reporter. This is only one of them. If I were a man, you would not be texting me about this bull blank. 2 months later, she said that her relationship with Vappy was strictly professional. Here's the thing. The problem is you're trying to be a man. If these allegations are true. The evidence, speaks for itself. But if these allegations are true, you were trying to be a man. You're trying to do tit for tat. Basically what you're saying is if you was a man, you would be getting away with this because you're a man, and wouldn't nobody care what you did with the taxpayers' money and how many people you slept with and how many trips y'all went on. Which is not necessarily true, because if that was the case, then why are they dealing with Donald Trump? You know why they messing with Donald Trump? Because they're trying to get rid of Donald Trump. They just don't want him running for president. They trying to destroy him as much as possible. But for whatever reason, he's a man. $83 million to pay somebody for what? That doesn't make sense. You might get 3, you might get 8, but 83? Come on now. But she probably ain't gonna never see that money. She old, she probably passed away before Donald Trump has. He'll probably pass away before she ever see a dime. But you can't go, like I say, tit for tat, trying to be up. The problem is you trying to, You're probably one of the people who complain that men has been doing this since the beginning of time. And it's not right. And it should be held accountable. But then when you get the opportunity to get in this position, the position of good, for the good of the people, you do evil things. And then the first thing you say is, well, they do it. Why can't I do it? It's okay when they do it. It's a problem when I do it. You know, when my kids are growing up and they be in school, and let's say they take a test and they get a bad grade on the test. You know, the first thing they want to say is, you know, Dad, you know, the highest grade in the class was a 60. Or, man, everybody, most only like 2 or 3 people passed. And my question would be, if the highest grade was 60, I'm like, oh, like everybody else failed. I'd be like, what did you make? Well, I made like, you know, a 60, you know, a 58 or 60 or something like. I said, so just because everybody else failed, that means you supposed to fail too? But Dad, it was hard. Nah, I don't want to hear that. I don't want you to think like that. Or it's not like 2 or 3 people passed. Did you pass? Why not? Or I made a 70. Why you make a 90? We know everybody, the rest of the class, only made like 7. But why did you want? But I'm not worried about the rest of the class. We're talking about you in this house. Explain to me why you made a 70. And a lot of times I'm not fussing with the child, because I understand if you got teachers that give hard tests, you got teachers that might get upset and give you all a fail test. I used to have a teacher that used to give bubblegum quizzes in algebra 2. They call it a gum quiz. If you came into class chewing gum, he would give you a gum quiz. And it was designed for you to fail just so he can put a 0 on the book under quizzes. But it was for you to stop chewing gum in class. It was effective. Now they probably would call that abuse. Probably try to sue him, getting kicked out of school. But that's, he used his position for good to keep the class running smoothly. But like I said, I wasn't really fussing at the youngest. I was just mainly trying to get in, put into that mindset, build into that mindset is, don't do what everybody else is doing on a failing perspective. You need to try to make sure that you are the one who's excelling, exceeding expectations. If everybody else has failed, you need to prepare to make sure you're not the one with a low grade. Like I say, sometimes you can't help it, but if you let kids say, hey, everybody else fails. Oh, okay. Well, everybody else failed. Okay, that's okay. We'll get them next time. Then they might start to be like, well, shoot, I can just, kind of relax because everybody else failed because they ain't studying. They wouldn't have passed anyway because they didn't study. I studied and I still didn't do good. No, I want you to keep, we're going to, at all costs and at all points, we're going to make sure you keep the mindset of why did I fail and what I need to do to excel next time, period. That's the only reason why. But I didn't tell them that, but now I can because they're grown. Goyenech, he doesn't believe either risks federal charges unless there were something beyond what's already known and alleged about the pair. I think that if they do charge them with that, it's because they believe that they have sufficient evidence to meet the burden of proof to prove them guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Goyenech believes that the feds must be looking at other examples of corruption on Cantrell's part. It's not the first time the feds are looking into the mayor's activities, as she previously faced a federal probe over $29,000 worth of first-class flights. In December, NOLA.com reported that the 2 investigations are separate from one another and still ongoing. We'll find out sooner rather than later, Goyenech said. This investigation is either going to result in an indictment in the near future, or it's just going to dry up and blow away. Attorneys on behalf of both Cantrell and Vappy have declined to comment. And they said one of these investigations that she claimed that the taxpayers, the money was used, the taxpayer money was used for, federal business, government business, and that they wouldn't be reimbursed. And then like 2 months later, she reimbursed them. Because that's how it goes. That's why I think Fonda Willis is what's going to happen with her is that she's going to end up paying back the money. She's going to be like, oh, I made a mistake. I thought this was, usable. I thought this was usable with the funds, the government funds. Found out it wasn't. I'm just going to pay it back. And everything will be bygones, and she'll wipe her hands up while Nathan Wade's still going to go through hell with his estranged wife. And she gonna get that paper. It said Cantrell, 51, was charged by Louisiana Board of Ethics for using premium upgraded grades for 15 flights over a 2-year time frame. The charges fell under a state ethics law that prohibits officials from receiving anything of value from their public duties. At a press conference Wednesday, Cantrell added that she was called investigations of targeting, which she said are prevalent relative to black leadership. Now I had to go to race card. Look at her. If you're doing wrong, you're just doing wrong. I am the stunt church. Like I always say, I am a conspiracy theorist. I'm probably the most pro-blackest person you'll meet in your life. But I understand good and bad. Because my standpoint is this. If I'm trying to bring up my people, teach my people, want my people to do better, I'm not going to use that platform for ill-gotten gains. You can't be, most people are not, how can I say this? Most people don't have the ability to be leaders and shouldn't be in a leadership position. Because you got to make sure that your closet is clean when you take these positions, because you're going to be under more scrutiny than anybody. And could be that because you are a black American woman, it's going to be 10 times as worse. That's the life you chose in this country. In this country? Shit, that's how it is. Yeah, they're going to look at you a whole lot like stores go. You got to be 10 times as smarter, 10 times as athletic than them folk to get the same accolades that they get. Well, that's how it is in this country. It may not be right, may not be fair, but if you choose to go that route, be prepared, and you can try to change the narrative as you go along. But in the meantime, somebody got to go through it. So you got to be clean as a whistle. So when I came in, even being elected mayor, even prior to that on city council, I have been the center of countless investigations, the mayor said. I have always complied, and that's what I'll continue to do. I do note that this seems to be kind of prevalent relative to black leadership, and I think that I'm not exempt from it. But relative to investigations I have been through them, and I'll continue to comply whenever they come. And that's all I gotta say on that. And let me see, here we go. She talking about them trips, say she finally reimbursed the city $28,856 for the 13 domestic flights and 2 international trips to Europe that she upgraded in October of last year. And she talked about protection, but yeah, it's a nice little long article. I'm not gonna read the rest of it because it's a lot. So I'm gonna let y'all, I'm gonna put the link in the description box, let y'all read it for yourself. But the point is this: when you get in the position of power, man, you just gotta be, like I say, you gotta keep your closet clean. You can't do things that are anything that's questionable. Ask people who can tell you the right thing to do. If it's questionable, don't do it. Don't upgrade. What you upgrading flights for? You are a mayor. You are not the president of the United States or the president of a country. You are the mayor of New Orleans. Nobody knows who you are outside, like myself. I wouldn't know who this woman is walking, you know what I'm saying, if she would have ran by me butt naked on fire last week. I still look at her picture down like, I don't know that woman. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, but you talking about getting security outside of your city with a guy that video shows that it seems like they make sure that you can't even use the city apartment, the city owned apartment no more. The two of y'all, you and your bodyguard. Why is that? Why is that? It's got to be something they saw that they're like, nah, y'all can't use it no more. Yeah, sure, you know, because you probably are doing things that you ain't got no business. But anyway, it's a sad day. I'm always a staunch believer in, let me just say this. From an emotional standpoint, I don't think women should be in leadership powers, most of them. Because like this, as soon as you under investigation, first thing you cry is racism and sexism. And that could be far from the case. It could be true, but it could most likely far from the case. It's just that somebody seen something. They didn't make anything up. That's the thing. There are video, you got video evidence, and you got receipts on what you spent and what you bought, and you even pretty much admitted guilt by paying back money to the city on one investigation. So you can't hide people when you gotta do right by the people. We as a people it's hard enough that we're trying to get a leg up in this country. I know a lot of us, we are somewhat successful. I'm comfortable in the money I make, able to pay my bills, this and the third, do extra things, do whatever needs to be done. I can do it. I worked hard, and it was a long struggle, and I'm able to do it, and she's gonna take advantage of it. I don't use my job title or position to take advantage of people at my job, or use it, for like, if you get like company benefits. I mean, shoot, now, we get company benefits like, rent a car or hotels or stuff like that where we get discounts. You can use them. Just because you're an employee, that's okay. You can, so that's something they say, hey, you can use it. Don't have to be business. It can be anybody that works for the company can use this, and I use it, and it comes in handy. Now, it'd be different if they say, oh, well, only corporate people can use it, and somehow I got a corporate, not corporate, like the people in the office higher up can use it, and somehow I got the code and was using it for stuff to take crazy trips with a mistress or somebody or a coworker or something like that. Then you can say you can do that little investigation and understand, it's understandable because you're using that stuff for stuff that's going to make the company look bad. You don't want to do that. So same thing, government, women, gotta get the emotions out of stuff. You can't try to do things out of spite because men get away with it and you feel it's unfair. That's not how the world works. This is not your world. You don't control this. You're working for somebody. You're living in somebody else's world at this time. So you just play by the rules and you learn the rules. And then you learn if there are ways that you can change the rules. Period. Anyway, tell me what you think about this story. Hey, don't forget to go to marlonmorale.com to get your perfume, your colognes, your beard products, silk scarves for the ladies, etc. Luxury items that we sell there at marlonmorale.com. But tell me what you think about this story. Leave your comments below, then share it with the world. With that being said, I leave you in peace, and I'll see you on the other side.